Welcome to Silent Killer. Tonight's case is unlike anything you've ever heard, a story that begins in the glittering streets of Sydney's underworld and ends thousands of miles away. In a quiet hotel room in Vietnam, a man who once ruled the shadows, feared, respected, untouchable, suddenly found dead in a foreign land. No weapon, no witnesses, no signs of struggle. Only one question whispered in every dark corner of Sydney's crime world. Who killed him, and why so far from home? Let's uncover the haunting mystery of the Sydney underworld king's silent death. It was a humid evening in Ho Chi Minh City when a tall Australian man stepped out of a black car and walked into a luxury riverside hotel. His name was Damien Costa, once known as the Broker of Blood. In Sydney, he wasn't just another criminal. He was a legend. Drugs, weapons, and dirty money flowed through his hands like water. For years, every police raid, every undercover sting failed to touch him. But lately, things had changed. Damien had disappeared from Sydney's nightlife, and whispers began. He's hiding. Or running. Those close to him said Damien had been restless for weeks. He was seen selling off assets, closing accounts, and burning papers. One night, he walked into a private bar in Darlinghurst, handed his favorite bartender a thick envelope, and said, "If I don't come back, burn it." No one saw him again after that. A week later, immigration records showed he'd boarded a flight to Vietnam under a different name, Daniel Cross. Why Vietnam? No one knew. He had no family there, no known business. Just a ticket, a fake name, and a sense of finality that felt almost planned. When he arrived in Vietnam, hotel staff described him as polite, calm, and distant. He barely spoke to anyone, always wore sunglasses, and paid in cash. Cameras caught him pacing on the rooftop bar late at night, staring into the distance with a cigarette that never seemed to burn out. Some said he was being followed. A motorbike often parked outside the hotel, same one every night. But when police checked, there were no registration details. Just a black bike and an invisible rider. On the fourth night, Damien requested dinner in his room. Steak, whiskey, and ice. He called the front desk once to ask for a charger. And then nothing. The next morning, the cleaner found him lying on the bed, eyes open, body cold. No blood, no marks. Just a faint scent of cologne and a single coin placed on his chest. An Australian dollar coin. The local authorities called it a heart attack. But the moment his name reached Sydney, the underworld erupted. They knew Damien didn't just die. Someone had erased him. Back in Sydney, his former partners went silent. One of them, a nightclub owner, told reporters off the record, he was scared. He said someone from inside the circle wanted him gone. Someone he trusted. The whispers grew. Maybe it was revenge, maybe betrayal, or maybe Damien had faked his death himself. But the Vietnamese autopsy confirmed it. Damien was gone. And the autopsy found something chilling. Traces of a rare neurotoxin used by professional assassins. One that stops the heart, but leaves no visible sign. No one claimed his body for 3 weeks. No family came forward. When finally returned to Sydney, only 5 people attended the funeral, and 2 of them were undercover cops. The rest of the city's crime world watched from a distance, wondering who would fill the void Damien left behind, and who had the power to end him so silently. The streets whispered his name like a curse. Damien's dead. But his secrets aren't. When Damien's death hit the headlines, the media called it a mysterious passing of a businessman abroad. But those who knew him knew better. Damien Costa wasn't just any businessman. He was the man who controlled the flow of illegal money between Sydney, Hong Kong, and Dubai. Behind every nightclub, every luxury car, every underground deal, there was a shadow of Damien. But before he left Australia, he destroyed nearly everything that could trace back to him. Computers, phones, ledgers, all gone, except for one encrypted hard drive that vanished days before his flight. Some said he sold it. Others believed he was using it as leverage, his insurance policy against those who wanted him gone. Inside Sydney's criminal circle, there were already cracks forming. His former partners, Leon Vance and Marco DeLuca, had been fighting over territories, and rumors said Damien had recordings of every dirty conversation, every money transfer. He had evidence that could bury half the underworld and drag corrupt politicians down with them. But what made people truly afraid was that Damien had hinted he might turn informant. That one word, whispered in the wrong ear, can be a death sentence in the criminal world. 3 days before Damien boarded that flight, CCTV captured him meeting a woman at a coastal cafe near Bondi. She was never identified, but witnesses said she wore black gloves and never took off her sunglasses, even indoors. Damien handed her a small metal case. Some think it contained that missing drive. Others say it was his passport out of crime, a final payment to vanish. But a man at the next table overheard one chilling line from Damien's lips. "If they find me before I reach Vietnam, it's already too late." Vietnam wasn't random. It was safe territory for Australian syndicates. For years it had been a neutral zone where rival groups met without drawing attention. And there was one more thing. A secret property on the outskirts of Da Nang, registered under an offshore name tied to Damien. Locals told police they saw him there once, arguing with 2 foreigners near a car. Hours later, that car was found abandoned, its number plates removed, its seats stained with blood that never matched any known DNA. Whatever Damien had been hiding, it was connected to that property. As Australian detectives quietly pieced things together, they found one last unsettling clue. Damien had booked 2 tickets, one for himself, one under the name Sarah Lane. But the second passenger never checked in. Whoever Sarah was, she might have been the last person who knew Damien's truth. And maybe the reason he died. Authorities never traced her. The passport was fake. The photo, blurred, unidentifiable. But on closer look, her shadow resembled the same woman from the Bondi Cafe. Now the theory grew darker. What if Damien didn't flee to Vietnam to hide? What if he went there to meet his killer? Someone who promised safety but brought silence instead. Someone who knew all his secrets, because they were part of them. The woman first appeared in Damien's story like a ghost. Nameless, faceless, and dangerous. Locals at the hotel in Vietnam remembered her vaguely. Long black coat, no luggage, no smile. She checked in 2 days after Damien, using a foreign passport under the name Clara Vale. But that name didn't exist anywhere, not in travel records, not in any immigration database. She paid cash, never used a phone, and always kept her door locked. Security footage later revealed something chilling. Every night, around 2 a.m., she would leave her room and stand outside Damien's door for several minutes, and then vanish back inside. The staff thought it was a coincidence, until the morning Damien was found dead. The woman in black had already checked out, leaving behind nothing but a scent of perfume and a single torn photograph. The image showed Damien standing with 2 other men in front of a luxury yacht somewhere on the Sydney harbor. The other men were later identified as Leon Vance and Marco DeLuca, Damien's oldest allies and newest enemies. But there was something odd in the photo. A 4th person, half visible in the reflection of the yacht window. A woman holding a phone. The same shape. The same silhouette. It was her. Interpol got involved, tracing the torn photo back to a surveillance breach in Sydney's police evidence room. Someone had stolen old case files connected to the DeLuca syndicate, including photos from a 2017 smuggling investigation. That theft happened just 1 week before Damien's disappearance, and the footage showed the thief walking in and out of the building with confidence, using an officer's security badge. When investigators enhanced the image, they saw the same woman in black. Her identity, her purpose, her timing, everything fit together like a carefully laid trap. The deeper detectives dug, the more they realized Damien's death wasn't random. It was a message. The neurotoxin that killed him was traced to a rare batch used only once before, in the murder of a Hong Kong informant who betrayed a syndicate partner. Both cases had the same signature. Clean, quiet, no trace. Whoever the woman was, she wasn't just connected to the underworld. She was trained to erase people without leaving fingerprints or footprints. But then came the twist that no one expected. An anonymous email reached the Australian Federal Police headquarters containing a single attachment, a voice note of Damien recorded 2 days before his death. His voice trembled as he whispered, "She's here. She said she can make it quick. Tell Leon, I'm sorry. I thought I could stop it." After that silence, the email had no origin, no sender. The only thing written in the subject line was, "Debt settled." And just like that, the woman vanished again, from cameras, from records, from the earth. No one saw her board a plane. No one saw her leave the country. But one hotel staff member swore she saw the woman near the river that morning, placing something small into the water. A silver locket engraved with the letter D. Whether it was guilt, love, or ritual, no one knows. What's certain is this: she finished what she came for, and left a ghost city behind. When Damien's body was flown back to Sydney, the official report called it natural causes. But Detective Alan Kerr didn't believe that for a second. He'd been chasing Damien for nearly a decade, watching him slip through every legal loophole like smoke through fingers. Kerr knew the look of a man who lived and died by deals, and Damien's face, frozen in that final hotel photograph, told a story of betrayal, not biology. His eyes weren't peaceful. They were terrified. Something, or someone, had hunted him down long before Vietnam. Kerr began his own quiet investigation, starting with Damien's financial history. Within weeks, he uncovered over $6 million moved into hidden accounts in the Cayman Islands, all transferred from offshore companies, connected to Leon Vance. But what caught Kerr's attention wasn't the money, it was the timing. The last transfer happened 2 hours before Damien's death. That meant someone had access to his security codes while he was still alive, or dying. Whoever orchestrated it had planned every second: the toxin, the timing, the transfer. Meanwhile, the underworld in Sydney was cracking open. Leon Vance threw a lavish party just days after Damien's funeral. Champagne, suits, and forced laughter. A new era, he called it. But behind the smiles, paranoia ran deep. 2 of his men disappeared that same week. A warehouse linked to his operations mysteriously burned down. Some whispered that Damien's ghost was taking revenge. Others said the woman in black was still in Sydney, cleaning up every loose end. Vance began moving with private security, but it didn't save him for long. One cold morning, Leon's bodyguard found him slumped over in his car outside a marina. No blood, no signs of struggle, just the same calling card, an Australian dollar coin on his chest. The media said heart failure, again, but Kerr didn't buy it. The same toxin appeared in Leon's bloodstream, this time traced in smaller concentration, as if someone had injected it carefully to mimic cardiac arrest. Kerr finally said the words no one wanted to hear. "We're dealing with a contract killer." Then, something unexpected surfaced. CCTV from a convenience store near the marina showed a hooded figure walking away from Leon's car moments before his death. In her reflection across the glass window, the faint shimmer of black fabric, and that same long coat, the woman in black was back, and her mission wasn't over. With Leon gone, only one man from Damien's circle remained, Marco DeLuca, the youngest and most impulsive of them all. If she was tying up ends, Marco was next. Kerr contacted Interpol again, trying to trace the toxin to its source. It led to a private biotech lab in Thailand, a place once raided for selling biochemical substances to organized crime groups. But when Interpol raided it again, the lab was empty, wiped clean, and a single word was spray-painted on the wall: silence. Whoever orchestrated these deaths wasn't just eliminating targets, they were erasing history. Every trace, every witness, every file. Back in Sydney, Kerr sat alone in his car, listening to Damien's last voice recording over and over. The same whisper echoed in his mind. "Tell Leon, I'm sorry. I thought I could stop it. It wasn't just guilt, it was a confession. But for what? What had Damien started that led to his own execution? And what kind of force had enough reach to kill across countries, leaving nothing behind but a single silent coin?" Marco DeLuca was never the smart one in the trio, but he was the most dangerous. A man with too much pride and too little patience. After Leon's mysterious death, Marco stopped showing his face in public. He locked himself inside his villa near the coast, surrounded by cameras, dogs, and men with guns. He told everyone he was untouchable. But deep down, he knew. The woman in black was coming for him too. He'd seen the headlines, felt the shadow following him. Every time the phone rang, he flinched. Every night he drank until dawn just to quiet the whispering in his own mind. "You're next." 2 weeks after Leon's death, Marco received a message on his encrypted phone, one that made his blood run cold. A single image appeared on the screen: Damien's locket, the one found in Vietnam, placed beside a gun, and a note that read, "You still owe him." The message had no sender, no origin. His IT expert traced it to multiple ghost servers across Asia. Whoever sent it was untouchable. Marco panicked. He called his lawyer, his suppliers, even old police contacts. No one could help. Every favor he ever bought had expired. And then came the strangest thing. He received a call from a private number. When he answered, there was silence. And then a woman's voice, calm and cold. "Meet me where it began." That night, Marco drove alone to the old warehouse where he, Damien, and Leon once ran their first major deal, a weapons shipment that made them millionaires overnight. The warehouse had been abandoned for years, rotting in darkness by the harbor. Marco's footsteps echoed through the emptiness as he called out, "Who's there?" But only silence replied. Then from the shadows a lighter flicked. The woman in black stepped forward, her face half covered by the dim flame. Marco froze. He'd seen that face once, in a photo Damien kept hidden. The one he said was the reason he could never leave the game. "You were supposed to protect him," she said softly. Her voice wasn't angry, it was broken. Marco shook his head, stammering, "I didn't kill him." "It wasn't me." But she stepped closer, whispering, "No, you just watched." Marco's breathing turned shallow. "What do you want from me?" he cried. She raised her hand slowly, not with a gun, but with a small vial. "Justice," she said. "The same kind he gave your enemies." In that moment, Marco understood. She wasn't just an assassin. She was Damien's secret. Back in Sydney, Detective Kerr watched the harbor lights flicker from his office window when he received a phone call. The caller ID read unknown. He answered, and a female voice whispered, "It's over." The next morning, Marco's body was found in the same warehouse, slumped against a crate, eyes open, a faint smile on his face. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. And on his chest, another coin. This time, though, there was something new. The coin had been carved with a symbol, a tiny letter, A. Kerr's heart sank as he stared at it. He'd seen that mark once before, years ago, in a classified file about a covert assassin network known only as the Alchemy Division. They specialized in high-profile silent kills for governments and cartels alike. Every operation left behind a single symbol, A. That meant the woman in black wasn't a lover or a vengeful ghost. She was something far worse, a professional ghost, trained to make deaths look like fate. And Damien might have once been her client. As the sun rose over the harbor, Kerr couldn't shake the thought. Maybe Damien didn't run from her. Maybe he called her. Maybe Vietnam wasn't where he died by accident, but where he chose to end everything. And now, 3 men were gone, 3 coins laid, and only silence remained. The same silence that had been following this case from the beginning. Detective Kerr had spent months buried under files, phone records, and sleepless nights. Yet the puzzle only grew darker. With Leon and Marco gone, the circle was complete, but the truth was still missing. Every path led back to one man who could no longer speak, Damien Costa. But fate had one final twist waiting for Kerr. Late one evening, as rain hammered against his office window, an unmarked package arrived. No return address, no sender. Inside was a single USB drive wrapped in black silk, and a note that read, "You wanted answers. Press play." Kerr locked the door, inserted the drive, and waited. The screen flickered and Damien's face appeared. It was a recording, taken days before his death. He looked thinner, exhausted, eyes sunken but steady. His voice trembled as he began, "If you're watching this, it means I couldn't stop it. I thought I could buy my way out, but you can't buy forgiveness." He took a deep breath, glancing off screen. "Leon, Marco, they made me choose. It was either them or her, and I chose wrong." He reached for a cigarette, lit it with shaking hands, and continued. "You think I ran to Vietnam to hide? No, I went there to end it, to meet her, the only one I ever trusted, the one I betrayed." He smiled bitterly. "They call her Clara, but that's not her real name. Her real name is Ava. She was never one of us. She was hired to protect me once, but when I broke the code, when I sold the secrets, she was ordered to erase me. She gave me 3 days to come clean. I didn't, so she came for me." Kerr leaned closer to the screen. Damien's eyes glistened as he whispered, "I told her where to find Leon and Marco. I gave them up to buy time. That's the truth, but she didn't just kill for revenge. She killed to clean the slate, to erase the Alchemy Division's name from every record I ever kept." His voice cracked. "They think I'm dead because I lost. But maybe Dying was the only way to win. He looked straight into the camera and whispered, "Tell them I forgive her." The screen went black. Kerr sat frozen. His pulse hammered in his ears. The recording changed everything. Damien hadn't been the victim of a hunt. He'd orchestrated his own end to protect something bigger. The insurance everyone talked about wasn't money or evidence. It was Ava herself, the weapon he unleashed to destroy everyone who knew the truth. And now she was gone, leaving nothing but silence. Forensics analyzed the drive and found one more hidden file. Encrypted under a code name, Project Harrow. It contained coordinates, the same abandoned property near Da Nang, the last place Damien visited before his death. Kerr realized there was one thing left to uncover. Whatever Damien buried there could expose everything. As he packed his bags for Vietnam, a message buzzed on his phone. Unknown number, one line. "You're walking into the dark, detective. Be ready to pay the price." The rain outside grew heavier. Kerr looked out over Sydney's sleeping skyline and muttered, "I already have." Then he switched off the lights, unaware that the reflection behind him, just for a moment, showed the silhouette of a woman in a long black coat watching. The air in Vietnam felt thicker this time, heavy with heat, memory, and the invisible weight of unfinished stories. Detective Kerr landed in Da Nang under an alias, carrying only a small duffel bag, a fake passport, and Damien's coordinates scribbled on a crumpled piece of paper. The address led him to an isolated property hidden behind dense palms, a decaying villa once registered under a shell company linked to the alchemy division. Its windows were shattered, doors rusted, and yet it felt alive, as if someone had been there recently. Kerr's flashlight cut through the darkness, illuminating dusty furniture and faded walls lined with bullet holes. It wasn't just a hideout, it was a battlefield. On one table, he found cigarette butts identical to the brand Damien smoked, half-burned papers, and a half-empty bottle of whiskey still wet at the rim. But what truly froze his breath was the faint outline of a body drawn in chalk on the floor. The exact position Damien's corpse had been found in the hotel. It was like someone had rehearsed his death here, before performing it for real. He searched every room until he reached the basement. The air turned colder. A steel door stood half open, leading to a hidden bunker below. Inside were shelves filled with files, photographs, and foreign passports, each stamped with different names, all tied to known criminals from Sydney, Hong Kong, and Singapore. At the center of the room stood a metal box. Kerr opened it slowly, revealing a hard drive labeled Project Harrow. He connected it to his laptop and waited. The screen came alive with encrypted files, bank transfers, coded communications, and one folder marked AV. When Kerr opened it, a series of video clips played. Ava, the woman in black, captured on surveillance across different countries. She wasn't killing for money. She was eliminating anyone tied to an operation Damien had once helped run. A human trafficking route disguised as international trade. The alchemy division wasn't just an assassin network. It was a corporate shadow empire built on secrets and lives. Damien had helped build it, and Ava was cleaning it. But there was more. One file contained a short letter, written in Damien's handwriting. "To whoever finds this, I did what I had to. I set the monster free because I couldn't live with what we'd done. If you're reading this, the only thing you should fear is finding her again." Kerr leaned back, heart pounding. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed from upstairs. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Someone was in the house. He turned off the laptop, drew his gun, and crept up the stairs. The sound stopped. The front door, once ajar, was now shut tight. On the dusty floor near the entrance, a single fresh footprint appeared, small, delicate. Then he saw it, a silver locket glinting under the moonlight, placed perfectly in the center of the room. The same one from Damien's case. Inside it was a folded note. "You shouldn't have come here, Alan." Before he could react, the power cut out. Total darkness swallowed the room. Then, from behind him, a voice. Soft, calm, unmistakable. "You finally found the truth," she said. "Now what will you do with it?" Kerr turned, flashlight trembling. but all he saw was the faint shimmer of black fabric disappearing into the shadows. Kerr stood frozen in the darkness, his pulse roaring louder than the storm outside. The beam of his flashlight trembled as he scanned the room, empty, yet charged with a presence he could feel in his bones. The woman was gone, but her perfume lingered in the air, faint and cold, like death itself. He moved toward the door, gun ready, but a sound stopped him. A soft metallic click from behind. His instincts screamed. He turned sharply, flashlight slicing through the black, revealing a small device blinking red on the table, a recording transmitter. Someone had been listening, maybe even watching. He yanked the wire out, heart pounding. She'd known he would come. Every step he took, every lead he followed, it was all part of her plan. Kerr realized now that Ava had been controlling the game from the start, leading him here like a pawn. The question was, though, why? Was she trying to warn him? Or destroy him? He searched the house again, faster this time, until he found a hidden camera near the staircase. It wasn't government grade. It was personal, hers. When he removed the memory card and played it on his laptop, his breath caught. There she was, Ava, walking through the same hallway 2 nights ago, speaking softly to someone off-screen. "You shouldn't have sent him here," she said. The voice that answered was deep, male, and familiar. Kerr leaned in. It was his superior, Chief Inspector Hayes. "He's the only one left who still cares," Hayes said. "And if he dies, the case dies with him." Ava turned her head slightly toward the camera, her expression calm. "That's the idea." The footage ended abruptly, leaving Kerr in stunned silence. His own department was compromised. The people he trusted were part of the same web Damien had tried to escape. As realization sank in, a sharp pain hit his shoulder. A bullet tore through the wall, grazing his arm. He dove behind a crate as 2 more shots exploded through the air. The muzzle flashes came from outside. Someone was waiting for him. He returned fire, shattering the front window, then sprinted out the back door into the rain-soaked jungle. His blood mixed with the mud as he stumbled toward the dirt road, headlights suddenly blinding him. A black SUV skidded to a stop in front of him. The door opened. Ava sat inside, calm, composed, umbrella resting on her lap. "You were warned," she said, her voice barely audible over the thunder. Kerr raised his gun, but his hand shook. "Why me? Why bring me here?" She looked at him with something between pity and exhaustion. "Because you still believe justice exists," she whispered. "And belief is dangerous." The SUV engine revved. "You want the truth, detective?" She continued. "The alchemy division never ended. It just changed its name." She tossed something toward him, a USB drive, and as soon as he caught it, the SUV sped away into the darkness. Kerr fell to his knees, soaked and trembling. When he plugged the USB into his laptop later that night, what he saw made his entire body go cold. Dozens of classified police files, each stamped with the seal of his own department, Sydney Organized Crime Unit, and under them, one chilling line of digital text. Operation Silent Coin, authorized by Chief Inspector Hayes. The same coin left on every victim's chest. The same silent mark. The truth was worse than any crime. The hunter had been hunting for the wrong side all along. The moment Detective Kerr saw that file name, the air left his lungs. Operation Silent Coin. It wasn't a hit list. It was a government-sanctioned cleanup. Damien Leon Marco, all part of a classified purge designed to erase witnesses of an illegal intelligence deal between Australian officials and the alchemy division. The underworld these men ran wasn't entirely criminal. It was state-sponsored. They laundered money, moved weapons, and covered operations no government could ever admit to. When the operation collapsed, everyone involved had to vanish. Permanently. Damien's only mistake was trying to walk away. He'd recorded everything, thinking he could use it as leverage for freedom. But freedom doesn't exist when you're property of the state. That's when Ava, the woman in black, entered the story. She wasn't an assassin gone rogue. She was assigned by the same people Kerr worked for. Her mission was to erase the past, eliminate all ties, and ensure no one ever uncovered Operation Silent Coin. And when Damien realized she'd been sent for him, he made one final choice. He didn't run. He called her himself. Kerr replayed the audio of Damien's last words over and over. "Tell Leon I'm sorry. I thought I could stop it." Now he understood. Damien wasn't apologizing for betrayal. He was apologizing for believing the system could be stopped. He tried to destroy the monster that created him, but the monster had already learned how to feed itself. Kerr's mind raced. If the same agency that funded alchemy had infiltrated the police, then every step he'd taken, every piece of evidence he'd touched, was already being watched. His phone vibrated suddenly. A message appeared from an unknown number. "We warned you." Attached was a photo, a live feed of him, sitting in that very room. His veins turned to ice. He smashed the laptop, grabbed the drive, and ran into the storm outside. The city of Da Nang glowed in the distance, but it felt like the whole world was shrinking around him. He couldn't go back to Sydney. They'd kill him before he landed. The only way to survive now was to go public, to leak the truth before it vanished again. He made his way to a safe house run by a journalist friend, Lydia Tran, who once investigated corporate assassinations. When he showed her the files, her face went pale. This isn't crime, Alan," she whispered. "This is policy." Together they uploaded fragments of the files to hidden servers, encrypting them across multiple continents. But just as the final upload completed, the power cut out. The generator died. The world went black. Then a single word appeared on his cracked laptop screen. "Delete." Lydia looked at him in panic. "They're in the system," she said. And then, before either could move, the window shattered. A bullet tore through the air, grazing her shoulder. Kerr pulled her down, returning fire through the storm, but whoever was outside was already gone. The car engine roared in the distance, the same sound he'd heard back at the villa. Ava was back, but this time he wasn't sure if she was here to kill him, or to save him from what was coming next. As the rain poured harder, Lydia clutched his arm. "If we die tonight," she whispered, "then the truth dies too." Kerr nodded slowly, eyes locked on the darkness outside. "Then we don't die," he said, voice low and steady. "Not until everyone hears what Silent Coin really was." But deep down he knew. The only people who ever survived this far in the game were the ones who stopped trying to win. The night had turned into chaos. Sirens echoed faintly through the storm, but none came near the safe house. Kerr and Lydia knew why. The system didn't need police. It was the police. Every light in Da Nang flickered. Every camera lens felt like an eye. The truth was spreading. Fragments of Operation Silent Coin had made it to the dark web before the blackout. Enough to cause panic. Not enough to bring justice. The agency would hunt them for the rest of their lives, unless they finished what Damien started. Lydia typed furiously, blood from her shoulder staining the keyboard. "I've opened a satellite uplink," she said, voice trembling. "It'll go live to every independent journalist network. But once it starts, they'll come for us," Kerr finished, loading his last magazine. He wasn't afraid anymore. He'd spent years serving orders without knowing whose game he played. Now he knew, and he was done being a pawn. A shadow moved outside the broken window. For a second, lightning illuminated her face. Ava, wet hair clinging to her cheeks, eyes cold, unreadable. She raised her weapon, and then lowered it. "You've gone too far," Ava said softly. "They'll kill you both before sunrise." "Then help us," Kerr replied, stepping forward. She shook her head. "There's no helping this. There's only ending it." She tossed something across the table, a small encrypted chip. "This is Damien's final recording. He wanted it seen if he didn't make it out." And just like that, she disappeared into the storm again, leaving nothing but footprints and the faint echo of her heels. Kerr inserted the chip. The screen came alive with Damien's face, bruised, tired, and human. "If you're watching this," he said, "then I'm already dead. But know this, it wasn't betrayal. It was mercy. They created us to do their dirty work, and when we asked for freedom, they called us criminals. Don't let them rewrite it. Don't let my death be just another ghost story." The video glitched, froze, and ended. Silence filled the room, the kind that feels like the world holding its breath. Lydia clicked upload. The transmission began. A live feed spread across networks, social media, underground channels. Damien's confession, the files, the names, the truth. Within minutes, thousands watched. Within hours, the agency started deleting accounts, crashing servers, silencing screens. But it was too late. The story was out. The world had heard the whisper Damien died for. Silent Coin. By dawn, The safe house was in flames. Lydia and Kerr vanished. Some say they were killed before escaping the country. Others believe they disappeared under new identities, carrying the rest of the data with them. But 1 month later, a message appeared on the same encrypted site. Justice doesn't sleep. We're still here. No name, no trace. Just a symbol. A silver coin split in half. And that is how one man's death revealed a government's darkest secret. Was Damien truly the villain? Or the last honest man left in a world built on lies? The truth was buried but every time someone searches Silent Coin, another piece wakes up. Maybe it's still out there, waiting for someone brave enough to finish what he started. This is Silent Killer, where every story hides a pulse in the shadows. If you felt that chill, hit subscribe because next time, we're opening another file they never wanted you to see. Stay curious. Stay silent.